Well, today is a special video, and I'm out in the van with Rickvanman, and we're in search for Chiltern foliat. And if you remember, back in the 80s, there was a TV show called The Victorian Kitchen Garden, starring Harry Dodson, and we're trying to find where the garden is. Now, there's a big house up there. You can just about see through the trees. There's like a stately home, and that house is the house that actually featured in the series. So we must be quite close. There you go, you can just about see it. So I've got a feeling, Rick, that if we go down this lane, that's where the garden will be. Now, the series stopped in about 1986, so I'm not expecting great things. I've been told that it's basically a field now, and that everything's collapsed. So it'll be a sorry sight, but we'll just have a look, because here is where the wall is of the Victorian Kitchen Garden. Yeah, that's it. I've just had a quick look through the fence there, and it is a sorry sight.
States. We can go in.
I think we can go in because I think there's shops there.
It's a little business village.
Yeah. Could do with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
So these are the stables that were next door to the Victorian Kitchen Garden, which we never actually saw on the series, but I remember speaking to Harry Dodson a few years ago, just before he died. He said this is where the old stables were, where they used to get the manure, but now I think it's just like a business centre.
Let's have a little look around.
Now, what they used to do with these walls is they used to put like a radiator within them, so there was a fire in the wall. So here we go, folks. If you love the series, everything might be shattered now in a few seconds. So here it is.
Can't see a lot, but there's not a lot going on.
Now I'm trying to work out, this might actually be the second garden, because there were two gardens, although that central path there does look like... No, I think this is the second garden, because if I remember, this was the garden that they used for the wartime kitchen and garden series.
Okay.
And the next door, over there somewhere, is actually the main kitchen garden. What I have been told is that the lady in Hungerford owns a flower store, and she grows some of her flowers here, so at least there is a tiny bit of gardening that's going on. There's a polytunnel there, if you can just, if I can try and get the camera in as far as possible. Shall we just take a stroll down to the left and we might see something? But this wall is quite a nice wall to have. One of the problems with this type of wall is, he said that sometimes when you get a cold air goes in, it just eddies around the wall and then it destroys crops. And if you know the series, you will know that that is the hill over there where they were burning the stubble in the episode in October, November. This is how much I know about the series, unfortunately. A bit too much.
Bit of a series geek by the sound of it.
I was hoping there'd be a gate there. Yeah. So I think this part here, this wall here, is actually the kitchen garden, and that the wall down there was actually where they did the wartime garden. Now, I don't want to go too close because it's obviously somebody's house. But the house here is the home where Harry Dodson lived in the small cottage, and obviously they've done the roof up and everything.
Did it used to be thatched?
I think it was thatched. Okay. Not too sure. But the garden was there, and Harry was always in the garden at 6:30 in the morning. So it was fairly close you can just about see there, that's the main house where all the food from the Victorian Kitchen Garden went to feed the lord of the manor. Because even though it was an important aspect for the house, it was tucked away, but it's not as far away as I actually was expecting. But yes, I think this part here is definitely the section that they used for the wartime kitchen garden.
It's a shame we couldn't find anyone, so let us go in and have a little look in the film.
If you look through that archway there, it's through that arch, I think, is where
I see.
Where the actual garden is.
A little archway there.
So that's one of the lean-to greenhouses. It's quite possible that there are actually still some of the fruit in there that Harry Dodson tended to.
Very quiet, isn't it? Oh, there's the lean-to. In that series that you showed me, that looks like the Victorian lean-to.
Yes, Rick watched the wartime series before we came down to the garden. So for you to see this bit of land, this is where they were actually pulling up the trees. But it's quite clear that is where the central path was there.
Is that broken glass? I think it is. Actually, it looks like polythene from here.
Now this building on the right hand side is the fruit store. This is where they used to store the fruit. It's beautiful to see. Nice big building. And that straw is about a foot deep in those walls. And here we are. Here's some of the outer buildings where they used to store pots. And that bit there is where they used to wash the pots. Well, I think the actual garden that we know is on the left hand side there, through these big gates. I'm just walking down here because I'm hoping I'll bump into somebody that I can have a word with, who can direct me in the right place. So that's Harry's cottage there, and then this is the Victorian Kitchen Garden. All looking very sad, but at least the grass is being kept. So this is where they had some of the crops on the left hand side. The greenhouses were here on the right. And if you look, there's an archway. Through the archway down the central path would have been the other beds. It's not as bad as what I was expecting. And there's some trees. Look, there's some of the original trees there. It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. And there's a bench there where you can sit and contemplate of things that had been. Well, I'm quite pleased with what I've seen. It's not that bad. It's so calm and quiet here. It's very easy to let the imagination run wild and hear the voices of Harry Dodson and Peter Thoday as they went around making the series. So there it is. That's our visit to the Victorian Kitchen Garden, just beyond that wall. And when you're on this side of the wall and you haven't seen it, it's quite easy to keep that memory alive of a busy garden during the Victorian days, with Harry Dodson busy tending to his crops. It wouldn't take much to put a garden like this back into service, but it's just the money. If there were a lot of volunteers, I'm sure it could be done, but it just depends whether the landowner wants something like that done. But the thing that I was surprised by was the size of it, of how small the actual garden was, and that's without the greenhouses. It does feel strange to be walking here and things that I've watched on TV for 20 years. Especially things like this, the old pot stove. There you go, touching a bit of history that Harry Dodson would have touched. This is where they housed all the fruit. They used to put the fruit in here before it was ready to be eaten, and the nice cool air that was inside this building then ripened them. As you can see there, there's a window. They took that window off in the series, and that's how you could see that it was so thick the walls were. But beautiful bit of structure, this thatch roof. I wonder if there's any fruit in there. It's nice to think that the place is still full of fruit and that Harry's just gone for a cup of tea. And who knows, this building here could have been Harry's office. The rest of the outer buildings have been turned into offices, and it's good to think that there's at least some life returning to the building. So down there is where the garden is and all the outside buildings, and then this side, this is where they kept the stables. We never saw this bit in the series, but what's quite good is they've actually put life back into these buildings, and they've put small businesses here. There's a framing shop, place to buy sofas. Now in the series, Harry talked about the bothy. This is where all the workers for the garden used to live, and this is the actual bothy that was in the series. If you look just beyond the bothy, you'll see the walls of the garden are just there. So the workers didn't have far to go, because they did start quite early in the morning and work until quite late in the night. And if the greenhouses weren't at the desired temperature, it was their job to go back out, and even if it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, to make sure that the temperatures in the greenhouse were within 1 degree of what the master wanted. Beautiful building, isn't it? So at the time, although we didn't see it in the series, all this would have been part of the estate. So they used to walk out to the bothy in the morning, walk down past these buildings and into the gardens, which are down on the left hand side. Must have been a hive of activity in those days. Some gardens had up to 100 members of staff. But when they recreated the series, they only had 2 or 3. And then down on the left hand side is the actual building of, so it's down there. That's where we've just been. It's good just to be here and feel the spirit of the place. And we've always got the series to look back on and to rekindle those memories. So this is the extended version over on my own channel, and we've just been to the garden, which you've just seen, and now Rick is taking me to one of his secret spots where he does filming for his meditation channel, and I'll put a link in the description below. It's a beautiful spot on the video, and I'm going to have a look at it for the first time.
Must have come down in the last winds.
It looks a lot warmer on video.
Yes, it's probably a lot warmer in the summer. That's quite. I bet you birds will be making their nest in that before the sun is out, or before the winter's out rather. But look how clear the water is.
Yeah, I would imagine in the summer it's a really good place to come.
We came here. I think the last time I came here, the water level was right up.
Just be careful when you come over this, because it's full of frost on this side.
Oh right, okay.
And if you slip in, I'm going to catch the camera first.
yeah. You're going to get your even frames in there. Ducks think the dust in somehow.
Now I thought this side was actually a lot bigger than what it is. The path.
No. Well, isn't that always the way though when you see something on the screen? And you see it in
I was
real
just
life?
about to say, it's, even though I've worked in TV for 30 years, it's still sort of, it gets me sometimes when I go to places and think, oh, that's so small or that's so big or whatever.
Delightful. Hello. Some little. I didn't bring anything for him.
No, because the problem is you're not eating bread now.
No,
so
that's
you haven't got
true.
any bread.
You still doing your
Yes.
free thing? How's it going for you?
I've slightly come off because of the Christmas period,
A bit difficult, isn't it?
but
Sort of completely stay away from it.
what has highlighted it is, even though I've had bread in a few things over Christmas, like with turkey things, you know, I've actually gone back to the way that I felt before. So I've proved to myself that there is something in it.
Right.
In the Victorian Kitchen Garden, they actually mention, or just to let you know, the microphone here is for the video that we're doing for over there. This is the River Kennet, which has never been known to run dry. I remember that sequence from the Victorian Kitchen Garden, because even though I didn't see it, in the Victorian Kitchen Garden, they did have a pump house that was pumping spring water from the river, or next door to the river.
Just leads to the road the other side, but sort of a 5-minute walk through there. It's rather nice, isn't it?
It is.
But if it wasn't so, the problem is I can't film during the winter because for the honest guys and stuff, we film stock footage from places like this. But you need nice, bright sort of imagery. It's because it's all winter. It's looking a bit bleak, whatever you set that as, which is usually where you take off from. There we go. This is a great little place to come. Like I say, in the summer, it just looks awesome. We're saying that just looking through those trees there. It's just the light. It's just.
This is a quick little
grass and everything.
behind the scenes of how
Mist.
Rickvanman puts his videos
Sorry.
together.
Doing my arty thing. Just looking through those trees there with the light sparkling and doing its thing. It's rather nice. Lovely colours in there.
I tend to edit as I film.
Okay.
Do you just film and then you edit things together later, or
Yeah.
do you sort of think?
Just film loads and loads and loads, and then just bulk together the
I think-
more interesting bits.
I think because I started in TV when you took film out, it was actually quite an expensive thing to do. So you couldn't film for 25 minutes because you were spending £400.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So they taught you to only film the things that you're going to put into the actual program.
Yeah, no, in that one now it's completely different. It's all free, isn't it, basically? Once you bought the camera equipment, the only thing you're limited by is the size of your memory cards.
stopped off by the side of the canal and we're having a cup of tea. Oh yes. There's a bit of frost down and it gets your blood pumping.
And the sun's out as well though.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, you know, it's rather pleasant.
This is Rick's kitchen, as you've all seen.
Are you having tea, aren't you?
Yeah.
Find the tea bags now. There we go.
And then we'll go outside and take a few shots of the canal. So we've just had a cup of tea and we're going to do some filming with Rick. I've put the mic back on. He's just gone across the canal to set his camera up. I'll put a link to his video in the description below. As long as we don't drive off and forget that it's there. It's a nice place. I'll just show you the, there you go, that's the barge, canal, the lock I mean. There's another one. Look at that shot, beautiful. Beautiful little spot this. Even nice in the summer. See all these hedgerows in bloom. It's quite noisy on this side because that's where the lock is. If we go over here, there's a train line just in the distance there. If we go over here, I have to be careful because the ground is still frozen. There's a likelihood that I might slip and be in the canal. If we go this side, it's a bit quieter.
Right, switch your mic on.
It's a nice spot this. We're going to jump in the van now and pop down to Marlborough because I haven't seen that either. Oops, I'm just about to fall then.
You've been on the booze again.
I think let's get in the van and drive. So here we are. This is Marlborough. We've decided that we aren't going to stop because we can't afford it. This is the type of place where a cream cake would probably cost £8.50.
I'm sure it's not that much.
Well, that's it. I said, if you blink, you miss it. So where are we going now? On the great
We're
day
aiming
out?
towards Avebury.
Avebury. Now that's where they have the stone circle. I'll put a link to the video that Rick made there last year, I think it was, wasn't it? When you went there for the summer solstice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's quite an interesting video to
Interesting
watch.
is the right word.
This on the right is called Silvery Hill. What is a silvery hill then, Rick?
There are all sorts of theories about what's that's all about. The one I read recently was about somebody called King Seal was buried on his horse under the hill. I have no idea why, but if that's what folk wanted in those days, then, you know, I guess that's what they did.
Beautiful sun at the moment. This is the Avery Circle, where people come for the solstice. But the road is right through the middle of it. So how did that happen?
I don't know. It kind of makes you wonder if it was done that way for a reason. Perhaps when the road was made, you know, the powers that be thought, oh, we can't have all this, you know,
mumbo jumbo, going on.
Stuff going on. Then perhaps we'll break it up and have a road through it all. Maybe it disrupts the energies and stuff.
There's some more.
Yeah. This is the edge of the circle here. This is the Kingstone, even though the road up there. This is
Well, the sun is starting to set on a beautiful day out. What did you think of it all?
I really enjoyed it.
Quite a nice day, wasn't it?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. We should do this again.
And we've only had one cup of tea, so what's going on? It must have been a good day. But the sun is starting to set over on the horizon, so I'm going to bid you farewell and catch up with you next time. So from me and Rick, until next time, bye for now.